Perhaps the most famous high school rivalry in the whole country is Midland Legacy versus Permian. So I talked with two men who lived it and won it more than anyone else. For you, what is the best rivalry in Texas high school football?
Well, it's got to be the Lee Permian game. Boy, it was, I'd heard a lot about it, and, Lee Permian, and I just don't know if you can really understand it till you've done it a couple of times.
Generally speaking, there was, a district championship at stake, a playoff berth at stake, and of course in the playoffs, the right to advance was at stake.
The mystique surrounding that game is still there.
Obviously, you're here.
And you wouldn't be here if it was any other game.
I think it's been a healthy rivalry. I think it's been good for West Texas, it's been good for this Permian Basin.
It was an experience for me like no other.
Why do you think it is such a rivalry?
20 miles apart, for one thing.
Fierce competition when you played each other. But the coaches and stuff, there was a kind of a camaraderie that hard to explain.
The oil patch mentality of the people in Odessa and in Midland and stuff like that, it's just a little bit raw and it's a little bit rough. Maybe after I'd been at Lee for a week, I called my wife and said, this is a whole new ball game right here.
The rivalry started really in 1983, and they beat us pretty handily the first game, district game. And then we won our next 3 playoff games, so did Lee. And of course, we met in the quarterfinals up at Jones Stadium in Lubbock, and they beat us again pretty handily. And then in '84, we won the district, and they were second. Won our 3 playoff games, and we met again in '84 up at Jones Stadium again. Then in 1985, if we both won the 3rd game, we were going to play again. So there was a possibility that we could play 6 times in 3 calendar years.
If you're going to play in a state championship game, you have to be able to handle games like Lee Permian. The things that happened in that game helped win state championships for us for the next 3 years.
I follow each team, of course, and I have a great respect for Coach Allison and Coach Hartman. The Legacy's had some rough go in the last, 2 or 3 games. But I'll guarantee you they'll be ready to go Friday night.
Coach Ellison, Coach Hartman, they're looking for a game like that. They're looking for one of those kind of landmark games that can send them into a state championship run. And who knows, it may be this Friday night.
Respect your opponent, play the game the right way, heads up all the time.
I saw some hits in that game like none that I'd ever seen in high school before.
If they're covered, throw the ball away or run it.
The atmosphere in the 2 towns becomes bigger than the scoreboard sometimes.
Well, average football play lasts less than 5 seconds. I don't think it's too much to ask that you go all out 5 seconds.
There's no telling what'll happen Friday night.
If the other team beats us, just tip our hats to them.
Nothing would surprise me, either way. And you've got 2 good teams playing this Friday that can light up the scoreboard. And so, to me, it's just Lee Permian.
It was an honor getting to sit down with Coach Parchman and Coach Wilkins. I heard more stories than I knew what to do with. We'll have coverage tomorrow before, during, and after the Permian Legacy game, so be sure to watch CBS 7 for that.